Explain plan is also known as execution plan. It's the sequence of the steps that optimizer determines how to execute a SQL statement. Without the knowledge of the execution plan, you only have a vague idea of how SQL is being processed. You don't know where it's slow or where is it fast. So the explain plan command determines the execution plan of how Oracle applies to a particular SQL statements. Let's see an example how a explain plan looks like. You can so in this slide you can see how it does a select, how it does a join, full table scan using indexes, then again a couple of table scans. Now you can see where probably the work is needed. So how do we get that? We have few syntax of explain plan is like explain plan set statement id into table name for SQL statement. In any GUI tool or SQL partition, type in the keyword explain plan, give a random statement id, and make sure you insert your into your plan table and give the SQL statement that you want to analyze. So by default, Oracle inserts the execution plan into the table called plan underscore table. If you are getting error that plan table does not exist, or if you want to create your own plan table, you have this script called utl explain plan dot sql, which you can look in Oracle home rdbms admin subdirectory of Oracle software distribution in your organization. So one point to remember is this: the default plan table, it is a global temporary table. You cannot see the plan inserted by any other sessions, and your plan disappears when your session ends too. So whenever you run execution plan, explain plan command inserts a row into the plan table. There are a couple of ways to see the execution plan, but either way the results are queried from a plan table. Just describe the plan table by logging into the database to identify the columns and the data types that has to be fetched. So SQL is like describe plan underscore table. So the output may not be readable, so I got like two methods to make it look readable. Method one, one of the methods to check or understand the execution plan is to run select statement on the plan table. So I drafted a query: select r trim lpad, then again a trim options on the query plan cost cardinality from the plan table. And the second method is to use the dbms explain package, which is like better formatted and easy to use. So it's the same thing: select star from table dbms plan display will show us the execution plan of the query even if it has the bind variables. It helps us to closely monitor the behavior of the SQL. So actually for that scenarios we can use dbms explain dot display underscore cursor function, which is more effective to show the actual execution plan used by the database when the query ran into that instance. So the SQL statement should still be cached in the library cache, so it's like the real execution plan itself. You can identify the query and its SQL ID by using the dynamic performance views, which are also called as $v views. In rack instances, it's like GV dollar. So $v SQL and its execution plans: $v SQL plan, $v SQL plan statistics. Those were the few direct $v commands. With $v views, you can check top 10 SQL statements ordered by their elapsed time by using the following query. Select SQL ID, child number, SQL text, elapsed time from our $v SQL, where elapsed rank is less than 10. After we identify the SQL, we can run the dbms plan dot display cursor for that particular SQL. So for example, select star from table dbms explain of the display cursor for that particular SQL ID. So that's how we analyze a SQL. So in a nutshell, if someone says database is running slow, or says I don't have my SQL but it's currently running on the database, so you can query for the top 10 SQL, get the SQL ID, and run direct dbms explain display underscore cursor, or get the SQL text from $v SQL and do a explain plan for it. So that's how you analyze the output of a SQL and you work accordingly. That's the end of the explain plan topic.